area, in those areas. Do you understand? That is civilization jihad by their hands. Right now, the Justice Department is seeking to shut down discussions like the one we're having here. The Justice Department. That is civilization jihad by our hands. It's how they intend to do it. When you can show that the Catholic community, the Protestant community, the Jewish community, leadership are working with known Muslim Brotherhood entities, that is subversion. That is civilization jihad by their hands. They're going to get the leadership of those entities to subordinate those churches and the Jewish community to Islamic law, not through the courts. Well, I'm going to jump, and I need to end here, but I want to say that this, 2 minutes? Can I have 2 minutes? All right. This is the last page of that strategic document, and it identifies, this is 20 years old, and it still identifies the organizations in the movement, which includes the largest, most prominent organizations that still exist today. The Islamic Society of North America, the Muslim Students Association, the North American Islamic Trust, which is the bank for the Brotherhood, primarily funded by Saudi Arabia, the Fiqh Council of North America, and all these others, the most prominent groups. Well, for time's sake, I want to jump forward. Since we don't have time to do this, I'm just going to jump forward and tell you, we know as a matter of fact that CARE is not a sympathetic organization to Hamas. They were created by Hamas to be a front here in the United States. So I'm going to jump right forward to this. CARE, ISNA, and Nate said, we want our names off the unindicted co-conspirator for the Holy Land Foundation trial. And the prosecution said this, that ISNA and Nate share the same parent organization, which is the Muslim Brotherhood, and they are financial support entity for Hamas. That the Muslim Brotherhood created 3 organizations as a part of the Palestine Committee, those 3 which included the Holy Land, and that CARE was the 4th organization. And the mandate of these organizations was to support Hamas. Well, the trial judge in the ruling went through a bunch of evidence that we can't get to now and came to this conclusion. The government has demonstrated ample evidence that CARE, ISNA, and Nate are in fact affiliated with Hamas. It went to the appellate court and a 3-judge panel ruled exactly the same. The evidence is overwhelming. And now we have members of Congress challenging the Attorney General and the FBI Director on this information, wanting to know why they're not being prosecuted. So this is getting out there. And so I'm going to skip through this, but we just talked about the Islamic Society of North America. And here's their former leader with the President of the United States. Here's the leader of ISNA today, Mohammed Majid, in August at the White House. Now, directors for the Islamic Society of North America are also working with the Secretary of State. Muslim Brotherhood entities are training TSA. Muslim Brotherhood entities are teaching your military about Islam on military bases. The Islamic Society, when you see anything in the United States that's the Islamic Society of, it is, as a matter of fact, a subsidiary to the Islamic Society of North America. Does anybody know where that is? That's 0.9 miles from where we're sitting. Right down there in that little strip mall by the BB&T, by the little Marriott courtyard there, right there in that strip mall. That's the Muslim Brotherhood. And you know what? If you just go online, I know this is tough, but you just go to their website and you find their bylaws. And it's interesting, it says whenever they have conflicts, who resolves the conflict? The Islamic Society of North America and the Fiqh Council of North America, the 2 leading Muslim Brotherhood entities. They're telling you who they are on their website. So, I look forward to your questions. These guys like to say, I come in, I throw the nuclear grenade, and I walk away. But here's what I want to do if I do nothing else. Because if you walk out of here and you say, well, that sounds like bad, but that sounds a little overdone. I was recently out in Colorado speaking to a group of state legislators, and one legislator stood up and she said, you know, the longer you talk, the worse it gets. And I say that sincerely because a couple months ago we did a 3-day program to a group of law enforcement and intelligence officers, about 120 at headquarters Marine Corps in Arlington. And a 14-year FBI veteran who I knew when I was in stood up and in front of all these people, including local cops, people from the National Joint Terrorism Task Force, he said this. He said, John, you know I've been in the FBI over 14 years. I work at FBI headquarters in the Counterterrorism Division. And I've never heard anything you guys have put out over the last 2 days. Now he used an explicative, which I won't repeat, but he said this is outrageous. And now that I see this, I know that these people are inside of our offices. This is where we are. So, have a great day. Have a nice weekend.
All right, John, I'm going to ask you one more thing. I'm going to ask you the first question right now. It's very short. Is there a website where some of the people here who might want to take a look at your PowerPoint briefing can find it?
And I was warned by Catherine to make sure I could say that. So 2 things. Our website is strategicengagement.org. And one of the things is we just had last week our first webinar, which is like an live online presentation. We're going to do another one. So if you want to sign up for that, just go to the site and say, hey, I'm interested in the webinar. If you want to go and look at all the documentation, and I know some of you won't, but some of you will, the entire summary of the Holy Land Foundation and links to all the documents, all the photographs and everything is at nefafoundation.org. nefafoundation.org. You may know something about that. And if you just go to featured legal cases, you'll see links to the Holy Land case. And that gives you everything you need.
You can also see as the appendix to, the second appendix to this book, Shariah, The Threat to America, publishes the entirety of that explanatory memorandum.
Yeah, and by the way, that is exactly what the Muslim Brotherhood front organizations don't want you to learn. They don't want you to know this information. They don't want you to recognize that the Council of American Islamic Relations, which, by the way, tried to shut down this conference this morning, so you wouldn't hear this. And we're told they're going to come later on. I don't believe it because it's raining. But they tried to shut down this conference so you would not hear it. Very important things for you to learn. The Holy Land Foundation case, again, is online and you can